The story begins with an ordinary man named Paul, who lives a very happy life with his wife Alice and their only daughter, Mia. The family has a pet cat named Tofu, who is a little angry by nature.
One day, while bathing in a river, Paul notices a strange sight in the sky. Something like a portal is forming above his head. He thinks to himself, how small humans are in front of this vast universe. When he gets home, he finds out that there is a leak in the water pipe in the basement. So he immediately goes downstairs to fix it. During the repair, his daughter Mia comes and says that there is only one fish left in their fish tank, so they need to bring in more fish.
Paul convinces him. Tofu has already eaten many fish, so keeping this last fish alive is the big deal now. Mia shows him again. A spider web has been woven in the corner of the basement. She asks her father to break it and kill the spider. But Paul refuses, because Paul believes that small creatures like spiders, mice, or fish see our world in a completely different way. He doesn't want any small creature to die at their hands. Paul's life was full then. His wife Alice was his first love. His daughter Mia was his joy. Every moment of this little world was priceless to him. But after 5 days, everything starts to change. Paul wakes up and feels that the shower head seems a little higher than before. When he tries to put on his perfectly fitting shirts, he notices that they have suddenly become longer. At first, he doesn't pay much attention to them. But within 2 days, the size of the clothes changes even more. Alice asks, "Is Paul losing weight?" But losing weight alone is not enough, so she goes to the doctor. The doctor measures Paul's height, 176 centimeters. But Paul remembers that he is 180 centimeters tall. In just a few days, he has lost a full 4 centimeters. All the reports are normal, so the doctor asks to wait a few days. Days pass, but the contractions do not stop. The helmet does not fit on his head anymore. Paul wakes up at night wondering, is that the strange portal he saw in the river that day the reason? He does not understand anything. After 20 days, the situation becomes more serious. The bathtub now seems huge to Paul. The wedding ring falls off as his fingers become smaller. As soon as Alice comes out of the bathroom, she sees that Paul is now even shorter than her. This time, they go to a well-equipped hospital. There, Paul is tested, but the results are surprising. Every organ in his body is healthy, but each organ is getting smaller every day. There is no cure for this condition known to doctors. After a few weeks in the hospital, Paul realizes that he is only being tested here. There is no solution. So one night, he leaves the hospital and returns home. If he has to be small, he will stay with his family. That is his decision. But even after returning home, there is no relief. Within a few weeks, Paul has shrunk to the size of a doll. Alice can't believe it. His pet cat Tofu
now thinks of Paul as a victim and wants to attack him, so Alice throws Tofu out of the house.
At one point, Paul is as small as a mobile phone. Then he sees that some people have come to buy a house. He hides. As soon as they leave, he gets angry at Alice. Why is this house being sold? How many memories they have here. Alice calmly explains. Paul has been out of work for many months due to his illness. Now it has become difficult for him and Mia to support themselves. Paul says he will be fine. He will handle everything. But Alice says in a tearful voice, he will never be the same again. He will disappear one day as he grows up. Paul almost falls to the ground at the sound of Alice's screams. Even his daughter Mia finds him strange now. So Paul starts living in Mia's dollhouse for a while. Maybe she will keep him close, thinking he is a doll, and they will spend some time together. But then, one day, Tofu somehow gets into the house. Scared, Paul falls on a pin and injures himself. He realizes that this small pin is now a terrible weapon for him. Somehow, he picks up the pin and scares Tofu away, running under the basement door. He falls down the stairs and into a garbage can, unconscious. Outside, Alice sees Paul's blood-stained shirt. She thinks that Tofu may have killed Paul. She goes to the basement, but Paul is so small that Alice can't see him, and his voice can't reach her ears. Night falls. Paul realizes that his family has given him up for dead. From now on, he will have to live alone. He makes clothes for himself from the dirt. He climbs out of the pot through a hole. He uses a pin as a tool to move forward. There is a piece of cheese in the mousetrap he had previously set behind the cupboard. He chases away the ants and takes it himself. Since he is small, even eating this much will last him a long time. But then the spider came towards him. The spider that Paul himself had saved one day, despite his daughter's words, refused to kill. Today, that creature had become his most dangerous enemy. He scares the spider away with a pin. Then, looking for a safe place to sleep, he softens a paper box with a wet cloth and pierces it with a pin and enters. The next morning, Paul opens his eyes to Mia's voice. The girl is calling for her father from outside. But the stairs are now like a mountain to him. It is impossible to climb. Then he hears Alice telling Mia, "Dad will never come back. He is dead." Hearing this, Paul's chest breaks. He screams, but no sound reaches. Then he hears, Alice and Mia are leaving the house. The house has been sold. Paul realizes that he is now completely trapped. Nevertheless, he writes his name on the floor, so that if they ever come back, he will know that he is alive. Days pass. The struggle for survival of such a small man in the basement continues. He fights with spiders, falls into water, lights a match to dry himself. At one point, a man comes into the basement just to get the fish. Paul's last companion also leaves. Eventually, Paul realizes that he has become so small that he can now climb out through the gap in the basement ventilator's mesh. So he climbs up the furniture.
jumps over the walls, and climbs over the spider webs. Finally, when he reaches the ventilator, he finds that he is still a little big, so he sleeps there for another night. The next morning, he wakes up from an ant bite to find the spider moving the ants away, and he has now shrunk to the point where he can crawl through the web. Leaving the spider behind, he finally comes out. The outside world has completely changed. The grass is now like a forest. The dewdrops are glistening like a huge pond. No normal person has ever seen this scene. Paul thinks maybe this is his world now. He may never see his daughter again, but he wants to live the rest of his life as he sees fit. The film, The Shrinking Man, ends with this hopeful and philosophical ending.